All right, so you've used an AI to help you create a web project, right? And you know that amazing, almost magical feeling when your ideas turn into code just like that? But then, you wait. So in this explainer, we're going to dive deep into a tool called VITE. It's designed to completely erase that gap and make your whole creative process feel truly instant.
I mean, let's be real about this for a second. Your AI assistant just spits out this incredible code for a new feature. You're super excited, you can't wait to see it, but then you switch over to your browser and you're just stuck, staring at a loading spinner. Why? What's that delay all about? What's causing this gap between the moment of creation and the moment you actually get to experience it?
Well, the difference really comes down to two totally different ways of thinking about the problem. The old way, it had to bundle your entire project before you could see even a tiny change. Just imagine having to print and bind an entire 1,000-page book every single time you wanted to proofread one sentence. It's crazy. VITE, on the other hand, it works on demand. It's kind of like a magic book that instantly shows you only the page you're looking at, right when you ask for it.
So what's the secret to this on-demand magic? Well, it's a tool that's basically the engine for this whole new, faster way of working. And that tool, as you probably guessed, is called VITE.
So what exactly is VITE? First off, it's pronounced vite. It's actually the French word for quick, which is perfect. And it is a tool that is absolutely obsessed with speed. Instead of making you wait, VITE sends your project over to your browser piece by piece, and only when it's actually needed. And what that means for you is that your project starts up instantly, and any changes you or your AI assistant make, they show up in a flash. I think a really great way to get this is to imagine VITE as a short-order cook. You know, older tools are like a banquet chef who has to cook this entire massive meal before anyone can take a single bite. But VITE, it's that cook who whips up each part of your project fresh the moment you ask for it. When your AI suggests a change, bam, VITE serves it right up, hot and ready.
Now this incredible speed isn't just one simple trick. It's actually built on two core ideas that create a separation between how you work on your project and how your audience experiences it in the end. So let's break those down.
So VITE basically has two personalities. When you're in the creative zone, you're in rehearsal mode. This is where VITE is all about pure, unadulterated speed. It sends your code in little pieces and just lets the browser put them together. But then, when your project is ready for the world, you switch to performance mode. And here, VITE uses another powerful tool called Rollup to package everything up perfectly, making sure your audience gets the fastest, best experience possible. It really is the best of both worlds.
And this brings us to the real aha moment with VITE, the big secret. While you're in that creative rehearsal mode, VITE's genius is that it gets your very own browser to do most of the heavy lifting. Instead of prepackaging everything itself, it just cleverly lets the browser connect all the dots, which, it turns out, is dramatically faster.
So it works in this really elegant little cycle. Your browser asks for the first piece of your project, the VITE server catches that request, prepares just that one little piece, and sends it over. Then your browser looks at that piece and says, okay, to make this work, I need these other pieces, and it asks for those. VITE serves them up one by one, and the whole cycle just keeps repeating. All on demand, all at lightning speed.
Okay, that makes a ton of sense for the code I'm creating, the stuff that changes all the time. But what about all those huge pre-built tools and libraries that I'm using, the parts that basically never change? Wouldn't they just slow everything down?
That is a fantastic question, and VITE has a really clever solution for it. For those larger pre-built parts of your project, VITE does this super fast one-time setup using an incredibly efficient tool. We're talking up to 100 times faster than older methods. And after it does this one time, which is only the very first time you start up, everything is cached and ready to go. That's why every startup after that feels completely instant.
Okay, now that we have this solid mental model of how VITE works, let's get practical. Let's talk about directing your AI assistant. How can you guide it so that it creates projects that work with VITE's philosophy instead of fighting against it?
Think of it like this. You want to encourage your AI to use VITE's built-in features and all the official add-ons. It's like using the right tools for the job. You can also guide it to keep things organized. Put your main code in a source folder, your images and fonts in a public folder. And if you see your AI doing something way too complicated, like creating these custom scripts when a simple setting would work, that's your cue to just gently steer it back to VITE's simpler, standard way of things.
All right, let's tackle one of the most common hiccups that creators run into. You ask your AI to connect to some service, you add your secret API key, but in the app, it just doesn't work. The key is just undefined. What is going on there?
So this is actually a really clever security feature, not a bug. To protect your sensitive info, VITE will only use keys that start with the prefix VITE underscore. Just think of it like a safety lock to stop you from accidentally showing a secret key to the whole world. So instead of just API underscore key, it has to be VITE underscore API underscore key. Honestly, remembering this one simple rule is going to save you a ton of troubleshooting down the line.
Okay, so let's distill everything we've just learned down into a few key master principles. These are the big ideas that are going to help you confidently guide your creative projects and really get the most out of this whole instant feedback workflow.
First, just keep it simple. Trust VITE's standard way of doing things instead of making your setup super complicated. Second, think in small, manageable pieces. VITE really shines when your project is broken down into smaller, focused parts. Third, use the community's tools. There's a huge ecosystem of add-ons for VITE, so there's really no need to reinvent the wheel. And finally, always remember those two modes. One is for your creative speed, and the other is for your audience's experience.
So the ultimate breakthrough here is actually really simple, but it's also profound. VITE removes the friction. That painful waiting period, that lag between a creative impulse from you or your AI and actually seeing the result, VITE just dissolves it. It lets you get into a true state of creative flow.
Which brings us to our final thought. For really the first time, your development tools can actually keep up with the speed of your imagination. They're now instant, so the only question left is, what will you create?